Alright guys, we're going to go ahead and start putting this thing together up here on the mill and see if it works, see if it'll fit up. So I'll go ahead and start off by kind of explaining what it is. We've had a lot of comments on the videos about people that didn't understand what it was I was building. And I replied to a lot of them and said that we're building an arm that holds this vertical head off the machine when it's not in use. But it's also the way that it's been used, the way that it's intended to be used is so that it'll hold this vertical head out here and you swing it around and you can mount it, and you can also dismount it and swing it off out of the way. So that's what this parking attachment is for. I might have been calling it the wrong thing. I think the K&T manual calls it a parking crane, but I've heard it called both things, and I just started calling it a parking attachment because it is an attachment that goes on the machine, and I think that's why I started saying that. So pin goes here, which you've already seen, and then I'll grab the main body there. We'll stick it down on there and we'll have to check and see if it lines up. So I've already checked my center to center distance on the holes. It's 14 inches, the same as the original piece that's right here. So let me go ahead and get everything ready and we'll slide her together. We're just going to do a dry fit on all this. It's always fun watching that go down there like that, pushing that air out. All right, time to do some heavy lifting. Okay, there it sits. All right, so you swing it around here and grab it. All righty. It does not look like it's going to line up with this plate right here. It doesn't look in line there, so let me I'm gonna get my ladder set up. We'll change the angle and we'll give you guys a shot of everything. So I'm assuming that this is all together. You're supposed to swing this around like so. And as I'm looking down through this, all right, this is a plate that's bolted down to the top of the vertical head with the tapped hole. And that was where that eye bolt was. Right here. All right, and as I push this over to line up with that hole, it looks like I'm maybe a little more than a half a hole off. I don't know why that's happening. All of the dimensions are the same as that original piece over there. 14-inch center to center here, and 5-inch centers from here to here. So I'm not really sure what's going on with that. I really don't know. So this is just a bolt-on plate right here. I could modify this by machining these slots, these holes into slots so that this will move, or I can make another plate and extend this hole pattern out further. So I got to think here for a minute on what I should do. I really hate modifying an original component like that, so I'm kind of leaning towards maybe just let's find a piece of plate and cut it and just drill and tap some holes, or drill some holes and drill and tap another hole in it for the screw. So let me show you what I'm talking about a little closer. All right, so I got you on top of it, and as you swing it around, if you look down through there, you'll see that it's not quite lining up here. So that's where that screw's got to go there. All right, so it looks like back to the drawing board. I'm gonna have to make another piece. The only thing that I'm worried about is, it's easy to make another bracket that goes right here, but I'm afraid that it's gonna make the vertical head hang off center, because this thing's pretty well even whenever it's hanging on this eye right here. So I don't know, moving it out is going to mess it up, but I think right now it's going to be my simplest option, so I'm going to start with that. Alright guys, I've been working with this thing and tweaking it, trying to figure out what's going on here, and I think I've come to a couple conclusions. So first thing I want to point out that I've done is, alright, this arm, the arm that our friend John helped us make, alright, before it was getting a little snug coming around to this side, and it's still a little bit snug, but it's easily, you can move it pretty easily now. And what it was doing was binding up on the pin that I made here. So I took this pin over to the Victor and put it in a collet, and I filed real lightly in here where this arm swings, because I could see that it was binding on it whenever it pivoted to the other side. It was making wear marks, so it was getting tight coming over to the side, and I had to really come around here and pull it. Alright, so I've got that where it's freed up now. And I'm not sure what is out of alignment. There's something out of alignment. I don't know if it's this part or the part that I made. But anyway, we got it fixed now. So I'm thinking what this thing is supposed to do is swing on around. I think you're supposed to swing it on around, and this is going to come around here like that. Remember, I've never used this before. I'm just figuring this out. So if this arm will swing around, and where's the screw? It's just about lined up now. Okay, there it is. But it's still off a little bit. I'm thinking this because my dimensions are a little bit different right here. I think we made this just slightly thicker because the original casted piece is tapered, and it might be relieved a little bit back here. So I think I can set this up and mill this corner right here so that this plate, you know, this arm will swing on past a little bit, because you can see we don't need very much to allow it to line up with that tapped hole right there. And I think that might be how that works. That way you can use this to kind of float this head in there where you want, and you got some adjustment there. And then when you're ready to lock it in place, that's when you swing it around here and lock everything together and move the whole thing out of the way. So I can see where it's hitting right here. There's a little mark, and I believe that's all I need to do is just set this up and mill a little bit, and we might be able to get this to work just like it is. Alright, so I got the original right here, and I'm going to test it. I'm going to see if this one will work. So let me put this one in there. I want to see if that screw will line up, or if something's a little different on my machine. I can't go that way with it, so. Well, looks like this one's the same exact way. It's off just a little bit. It's hitting there also. You can tell where it's been slamming on it. So I don't know what the deal is, man. I don't know if this is a slightly different head than what Bill's got on his machine, or what the deal is, but I think I'm just going to tweak mine. Like I was saying, I'm going to tweak it right here so that this arm will swing on around and get to this hole. I figured while we're here, we just go ahead and look and see, but it's exactly like mine, the one I built. So that makes me feel better knowing that the one I built is an exact replica in sizes, because it's still, when I look down through there, it's just over a half a hole off looking down it that way. Right here, you can see. All right, let's go do some mods. So I got her set up on my adjustable angle plate, and I've got it set at 15 degrees. So we'll go in here, go in here on this edge and just mill this down a little bit. It's not going to take much. So I've got a little bit of measurements, and taking some angular measurements, and got them in my head, just some notes to kind of follow. But we don't need much, so I think if I relieve this a little bit, it's going to allow that side to pivot down just a little more and allow it to line up. Let me go ahead and hook up my my cool mist. Alright, so I took a total of 1/8 of an inch off this corner right here, and I made a pass with at 15 degrees, and I had put the arm in here, and it was still touching a little more than I wanted. So I bumped this angle plate back, and it set it at 10 degrees, and I think that we're gonna have plenty of clearance now. That's actually sitting level at like 0 degrees right there, and so when I started, it was on up there like so. So it's allowed it to come on back. So I'm ready to go over there and try it and see if it lines up now. All right, we're ready for round 2. I just stuck it back on there. You already seen me do it once. I wasn't gonna let you watch me do it again. It is kind of heavy. Okay. Alright, so that'll swing around, and looks like it's going to work. We'll just drop it in that way and see. Yeah. Oh yeah, I think we're going to have touchdown. Still a little wiggle room right there. There's one other thing I didn't notice. The length of the threads is a little bit longer than the thickness of this plate there. So if I want to jam that, all the way down, I need to face a little of that thread off. 3/16. Well, it looks like it's going to work out after all, guys. Let me, I don't know what I want to do next. I know y'all want to see this thing work, and I want to see it work too. I want to make sure it's all together like it's supposed to be. Let me finish putting it together, and we'll see if this thing's going to work. We're going to go ahead and face this thread off so that this the hex will shoulder down on the top of that plate there. We're going to remove 3/16. Just make it in 3 cuts. I measured the plate with calipers. It measures 1 inch, 150 thousandths. So we're going to make that 1 1/8 long. That'll give it 25 thousandths clearance from bottoming out. All right, there we go. Here's our last cut. And we're going to pull that one out. And we'll put us a chamfer on the thread here. I have to do a little bit of filing just to kind of knock that burr off there. Okay, putting the snap ring back on the pin. All right, we're gonna have to go ahead and install the, well, we don't have to. I can run it up through the bottom. I got a roll pin for this right here, and that's important to keep the rod from coming out, you know. So we'll go ahead and install that now. I had some 1/4 inch by 2.5 roll pins, and I cut it down to 2 inches. Put the other 2 on there. There is still one more thing I got to do that I haven't forgot, but we got to drill a small hole at the very top of this rod and put us a roll pin, and that's another safety feature that will keep those nuts from trying to back off. So we'll do that. We'll do that later after whenever we're taking it back apart for painting and that kind of stuff. Okay, so there it is. Let me see. I don't have the roll pin in here yet, though. That's okay. That's we can do that later too. So let's go ahead and see if we can get this in there. It looks like I'm going to have to install this after that roll pin's in there. I thought there was enough room, but evidently there's not enough room there. So let me drive this pin back out of here, and we'll do it again. Go. Okay. All right, well, I guess that's going to be it right there. That's going to come up to clear. Right. So let me grab my notepad. I got something I want to share about that right there. All right, so the choice to use the brass nuts was because this is something that I had over there. And I had a particular viewer that was telling me that I was making a mistake by using brass because this will strip that brass out. Okay. I've been talking to Tom Lipton. You know, me and Tom are buddies, and I was talking to him about a way to test this to see what the yield would be on, you know, the steel screws, stress proof, and this brass. We're assuming this brass is probably 360 brass. So I give him the dimensions of all this stuff. And Tom is a very smart individual, and he knows how to figure things. And he said, here, let me help you. We'll figure out what the yield strength is. In theory, now this isn't an exact number. So one of these nuts, which is 3/4 of an inch thick, and this steel threaded rod made out of stress proof, should have a yield strength of 7,900 pounds. Just one of those nuts in that one screw. This does not weigh 7,900 pounds. I'm going to guess this thing weighs maybe 500 pounds. Could be 600 pounds, but that's just an estimate. So I asked him, I was like, well, if you was to triple that, you know, because we got 3 on here, you'd essentially be pulling that out of 3 nuts. Would that increase? He goes, yes, that's going to increase, but in theory, this would equal 2 1/4 inches long. You'd have approximately 70,000 pound of yield strength right there. So I think we've got plenty of strength there. And Tom made the comment to me that people like manufacturers like K&T, they don't use brass because it's not as strong. They use the steel because it's cheap and it's durable and it lasts a very long time. So there's nothing wrong with using this right here. This is something that I had in the shop, and some old stock that my dad had, and very good quality hardware there, so we're going to use them. And hopefully Tom is right. I trust Tom. I don't think he's pulling a gag on me, but I think most of us can agree that this holding a static load is not going to just strip this screw out of there. So there's that. So what I've done is I've raised the table up with the vise here underneath the vertical head, almost all the way up to it. We've got a little bit of clearance there, you know, 1/4, 3/8 of an inch clearance. And this is, I want to do a true test on this and break this loose and move the overarms back, because the 2 overarms go up inside here to help support this thing. And I'm going to push those back, and then this should drop, and this arms is supposed to hold it. So I believe that's what it's supposed to do, and we're about to find out. So I got my steel toe boots on, and we've got it supported. If it falls, it ain't gonna go right here, and it's not gonna fall and hit the floor. So I'm gonna go ahead and loosen up. We got the 3 studs on each side. We've got 3 there, and we got 3 over here. One clamp bar out of the way. All right, both of the clamps are loose. So the only thing holding now is the 2 overarms up inside here. And I didn't check to see if those are tight, but I'm sure they are. That one's loose. I'm going to be able to reach that one. I think I am. Okay. So they're already loose. So y'all ready for this? See if it's going to hold it. Make sure you're getting a shot of everything here. All right, I'm going to run them overarm supports back. Okay, it's held it, but I dropped my... Oh man, my no-go bucket fell off whenever I did that. Okay. I believe it's hanging on the arm now. I thought I seen it drop. Just slightly too. There it is. Look at that. Hey, look at that, man. I think it's working. Ooh, my ball valve is just about in the way. All right, let me move the camera and give you a better shot. We'll swing it on around, okay? Okay. One thing that I did, I had snugged up this nut a little bit. Okay. There's the movement that we incorporated into the build with the conical nut and the, you know, the countersunk bore right there, and the taper machined in that slot, so you can move it around, and everything looks like it's working pretty good. Now I will say that that's heavy. That nut's in the way. There it is. Okay. So I'm assuming we put it right here. All right. Now we can reach up in there and tighten this nut here and lock it down in that little counter bore. There it goes. Hey, it works. It works. It's different. It just looks different here hanging there like that. I'm not used to seeing it, so I'm gonna have to get used to it. All right, let me take a couple pictures, and what we'll do is go ahead and swing it back around and see if we can mount it up. I think everything is going to be plenty strong enough. All right, so let's go back around with it. One thing I was going to point out, so once I have this thing, I want to just keep it here all the time and not use it. Then I can reach in there and tighten the set screw that'll lock that shaft from turning and keeping this thing from trying to vibrate around. So I went ahead and loosened up the bottom nut again. I already know that this is going to have to be pulled out like this. To mount it up for it to everything align. All right. I think you got a good shot there. I'll run the overarms out there. to say that thing dropped just a little bit. There it is. Okay. It works, guys. I'll go ahead and lock those back up. All that can just stay attached, just right there where it's at. There's no need to move it. I'm very happy the way it turned out, and I'm happy that it actually worked. I was getting a little bit nervous right there at the end that it wasn't going to line up and do like I needed to, but this all worked out great. It's been a hell of a project. It's been a long project, but it's been fun. I like doing this kind of stuff here because there's so many different things that I can do to show on the channel, the different aspects of the machining, fabricating and welding, that kind of stuff. And a lot of the ways that I chose to do that was just because it gives me something to do out here for fun, because I enjoy it, and I get to make video of it and share it with you guys there on the channel. So I think we got success here. So obviously the next step is going to be painting it, and I still haven't decided on how I'm going to coat it, but I'm not in no hurry on that. I just wanted to get this done. I know you guys have been excited about seeing this, and I will share one other thing while I'm thinking about it and kind of waiting for this. So I had one more of these. I had one more of these chrome or A-bomb cutouts that Keith Fenner did for me. I had it chrome plated, and I think it would look pretty good mounted up there on the side like that after it's all finished. So we might have to do that too as a finishing touch, just like I did on the welding table there. So I hope you've been enjoying this, and hopefully this has brought some closure to a lot of you guys who've been waiting to see it done. But we will be back to revisit this whenever we do some painting, just to kind of show the finished end result. Okay, see you guys later.